Broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
Hey, you're listening to Ty Bollinger of CancerTruth.net. You're also listening to Justin and Kate with Extreme Health Radio. These guys are great. Enjoy listening to them. I always do.
Thanks everybody for joining us on another episode of Extreme Health Radio. Really appreciate all you guys being on, listening live. And I just want to let you guys know that this show is going to be brought to you by our good little friend Ty Bollinger. He's the man behind the Truth About Cancer Summit that's going on right now.
He's definitely not our little friend.
He's definitely not our little
buff.
friend.
He's tall.
He's tall. He's stout.
He's stout.
He's a strong individual.
He is, very much so.
But this show is going to be brought to you by the Truth About Cancer Summit. And I don't know if you guys know about this summit that's going on right now. It's actually a docu-series they talk about. Excuse me, but it's going on right now, and it's a video-based summit. And he's traveling all around the country, interviewing 28 doctors, scientists, authors, researchers about what's going on with cancer and what are the latest groundbreaking techniques to overcome cancer. So if you want to check that out, it's extremehealthradio.com/truth about cancer.
And it's if I understand correctly, right, it's free for the first little while, and then if people want to go deeper into his work, there's different levels of purchase, so you can keep learning more and get extra interviews and books and info and things like that, right? Yeah,
it's really cool. The whole thing is free, so each episode, a new episode airs every night at 9 p.m. Pacific time, and it airs for 24 hours. You can just watch the whole thing and all that.
That is so cool.
It's available, and then at the end, if you would like to purchase all of the episodes so you can watch it later on or share it with family and friends or get a physical copy, you can do that. And they're actually running a promotion right now for 50% off
for just the next few days, right?
For our listeners, yeah. So if you go to Extreme, actually, you know what? Let me share the link here. It's a 50% off link, and I'll share the link in the chat room, actually.
And this is October 24th, 2014, so it's probably only good for the next few days.
It's actually only good. The 50% off is only good for 12 more hours, until 9 p.m. Pacific time.
Oh, I thought it was tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So good stuff, man. He is just doing some awesome stuff,
isn't he?
Yeah, I love Ty Bollinger.
I know.
He's just a great guy.
I know.
So we didn't even really...
He puts his neck out there for all of that.
He does, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He's brave, and I think he's just a huge presence in the frontier of getting the truth out there. I think that I think he's a modern day hero. I think that a lot of people would not have, most people wouldn't even dream of having the guts to be able to do what he's doing. I mean, he really is putting himself out there.
Yeah, he's told us he came through town a while back. We had a green juice and hung out with him in person. It was so cool because we'd known him for so long during the show, and he came through town and we talked about some of the inside stuff about what's going on behind the scenes with his work and everything he's doing. And it's pretty incredible to hear some of the stuff that you don't normally hear from what's going on with his family and some of the stuff that goes on in terms of him putting his neck out.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of people that don't want him to do the work that he's doing. Let's just say that.
That's a great way to say that and leave it at that. But yeah.
Yeah, right?
Pretty eye-opening, and it's pretty disturbing at times.
But he's just relentless. He's fearless, and he just goes for it, which is awesome. So we love his work. extremehealthradio.com/truth about cancer. And this is episode 334. And it's October 24th, 2014, Free for All Friday show. And Kate, we have officially dropped down in the number of shows that we've been doing.
I thought you were going to say, we've officially dropped dead.
We've officially dropped dead.
Well, that's not true because we're here broadcasting live. But
that hasn't happened.
We have officially dropped down our days, haven't we? And man, I'm torn because there's nothing I love more than to do this with you and to talk to amazing people all around the world and get such insightful and relative information. But at the same time, I'm really seeing how necessary it is. We had quite the week where it just affirmed our decision.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think you would agree, where we just really need to catch our breaths after 330 shows and be able to forward our work in a new way and kind of have new projects spring out of us. And you can't do that when you're doing 4 shows a week. And I mean, it takes you, gosh, what does it take you? Like, how many hours to actually produce one show?
It probably takes about
8, maybe
6 or 7. Probably about 7 if you average it out per show. So it takes a long time, and that's not counting the prep time and the recording, the actual time on the air, and then
going back and forth with the guests before, with emails,
scheduling.
It's a lot. I don't know. I told you this week, I don't know how you've done it for so long. Even especially by yourself in the beginning. I mean, talk about relentless. You just charged it and went for it. And I applaud you for that, because I see how much work. I had no idea. I thought, you sit behind a mic, you have a little fun, the guest calls in, and then afterward you just basically throw it into a podcast version. But not so the case, my friends. Yeah,
you have to add images to the podcast file. You have to edit the file. You have to, ID3 tag it so people can, when they get the MP3, they can sort it in their music program, whether it's iTunes or something, and then you have to upload it, and there's just so much that goes into creating these shows, and it's a long process, and then you actually have to write the blog post and put it on YouTube, put it on SoundCloud, and put it in all these different places. And so, it's just a lot. So, we love doing it for you guys. I mean, it's just amazing to have accomplished this. And so, it's not that we want to go back, but we are working on some really exciting projects behind the scenes. And so we're really excited about what we're going to be doing. And so in order to have enough time to do all that, we have to sort of go back on shows. And
we're not eating bonbons. Definitely not bonbons.
Yeah.
We're not sitting on the couch doing nothing, that's for sure.
And then if you consider staying on top of email, which is another thing too, it's really challenging. So, and then also there's a bunch of different things on the website itself that I would like to improve or to upgrade or whatever. And so to have time to do all that is there's only so many hours in the day. Yeah. So
you got some good plans over there.
Yeah. So we're still going to have 2 shows a week.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Some people have 1.
Yeah.
Some people are even sporadic and just do it whenever they have a guest or.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not a bad thing in my opinion, and I think that the quality of the shows and just our lifestyle and what we have to offer more is going to be better because of it. So.
Well, and also too, I'm so far behind in posting shows. I mean, we haven't even posted the last Friday's Free for All Friday show yet. So that's how intense it is to produce all these shows. So I'm really excited. We're going to have another next week. I think we have Dr. Gary Gordon coming in, right, on Monday?
We do.
He's not coming in.
No.
He'll be on the show on Monday. And then we have a guest that's coming into the studio. We didn't want to reschedule her, and she's going to be talking about
Ayurveda.
Ayurvedic diet, because we've been dabbling with it a little bit, and we've kind of ebb and flow with it. So, but we feel like there's something to it, right? Mm-hmm. You feel like that?
Oh, I do. I absolutely resonate with it. And I think the thing is, like Deepak Chopra's Perfect Health book that we've been reading through. Deepak has been a very good, that is his name. I was trying to shorten it and be funny, but that is actually his name.
Deepak.
It's not like P. Diddy or.
He should have it should be D-PAK.
Yeah.
Deepak.
D or D period.
PAC.
Deepak. Oh, darn. I thought I was being funny, but I wasn't. What was I going to say? Oh, his book's been a really good intro, I think, to the Ayurvedic diet and principles and things like that. But I'm really excited to have Alicia Diaz come in the studio next Wednesday, because I feel like I need a little bit more direction. It's like, how is this possible if you don't, I don't know, if you can't eat certain foods? Because the Ayurveda diet, I'm learning, like, we're the Vata type, we realized, and, not many seeds and nuts are that great for us, but apparently small amounts and soaked overnight and dehydrated, and there's certain things that we should be able to handle. But you and I mean, we've kind of delved into this world, and we still realize like we're not good nut people. We're not good processors of almonds. And so I'm dying to talk to Alicia a little bit more about that stuff and go, what do you do if you have, these food challenges or dietary, you can't, I feel like personally, I can't drink broth for, 3 weeks straight and that'd be my diet, or I'd get so sick of just eating one thing. I'll do anything to heal my gut, but at the same time,
you have less of a tolerance for eating the same food for a certain amount of time than I do.
Well, you know what? I don't know if that's true, because like I don't get bored with my food items as quickly as I used to in the past.
Oh, really?
No, not at all. But I mean, there still reaches a point where I can't eat chicken soup every day for 2 weeks, and you probably could. Like,
not for 2 weeks, but it's weird. Like the smoothies that we do, I love those. I do them every morning. I don't know. I love those. But yeah, I think that I seem to have a higher tolerance. It's actually probably not a good thing, because you should really change your diet up as much as possible.
Right.
Every so often go through the seasons and things. And,
yeah, the principles of eating more for your Ayurvedic type, more of that style, really makes sense to me. I mean, I think there's something so true about why we have seasons. I mean, why do certain foods grow and better at certain times or not grow at all or come into? I mean, it's just the way the world works. It's the way nature intended. I just feel like there's something that very true to, like, close to my heart in that, Yeah,
it makes sense. I was just thinking about it as you said that. It's funny with the seasons. It's really interesting too, because if you think about the seasons, there's 4 seasons a year and all that. But then, does that if eating right for the season makes sense, why wouldn't it make more sense to put a time on food, more like Adam Bergstrom does? So the time of the day is basically like, if you consider the day to be a year, a 3-hour, 4-hour block of the day could be a part of a season within that year. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to follow.
So if you compare a year to a day.
Okay.
So Adam Bergstrom will say certain foods should be eaten between 12 and 4. So that 12 to 4 hour period could be the same as a 3-month block of a full year.
Right. Okay.
And so if it makes sense to have seasons, I wonder how much it seems to make sense. Why wouldn't it be on the macro level for the year and then a micro level for the daytime?
Wow.
And so
down to the hour.
Down to the hour.
Which is what Adam's all about.
I wonder, there's got to be, I'm sure there's some truth to what he's talking about.
So I wonder why. It's hard though for me, because it's like, I wonder at what point does it all just go out the window? Because I mean, we only tried the almond thing for 3 days in a row, right? And we soaked them. We did everything. We got the raw ones. We soaked them. We thought we even dehydrated them. I even ate them without being dehydrated.
I took the skins off of them.
Took the skin, yeah, all that stuff. And it's like we ate them at the right time that Adam Bergstrom talked about.
Yep.
And we only ate the handful, like he says, Adam suggested, depending on your body weight.
Yeah, each almond represents 10 pounds of desired body weight.
Right.
So if you want to be 150 pounds, you'd eat 15 almonds.
So you ate 300. I'm just kidding. You ate 30.
I ate 18.
No, and I ate 12.
Yeah.
Or 13. But there was something about that still didn't feel like my gut could handle it. So I felt like eating in time, eating in season, and eating for my body type all still rejected the almond. I don't know if that's a gut thing, like my gut isn't healed, but you don't seem to have a lot of gut healing issues, and you can't handle the almond. So what is that?
Yeah,
I just have a really hard time figuring that kind of stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't seem to work with me. I mean, I'd try it again, and just see if it works.
Again. Yeah.
But really strange. Really, really strange. I'm
intrigued.
Why that. Yeah. Isby was asking about Alex Jones in the chat room. You ever have Alex Jones on the show? He's a fireball. Why are you laughing?
He is a fireball.
Alex Jones is just comedy. He's so great.
Infowars, right?
Infowars.com, yeah. Yeah, he's a funny guy. He has that video. He's the guy that talks about all the people being, in
FEMA camps,
isolation camps, yeah, and the Georgia Guidestones, where it wants to reduce the population to 500. Was it 500 million? I think, right?
I think that's right. I like him, but he stresses me out.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like I feel like I always walk away from his stuff. Well, I don't watch him anymore, but I used to, and I just go, oh my gosh, the end of the world.
yeah.
But I'm interested in it too, so it's like it's a fine line between freaking out and then being entertaining ideas that might not necessarily be comfortable to us.
Yeah, it's strange because is a guy like Alex Jones. I mean, a lot of people say, have you heard? I mean, a lot of people say he's a disinformation agent, and he's actually on the side of the CIA. But
and what would be the point of that again?
I guess it's sort of like a form of reverse psychology kind of thing, or reverse. What do you call that?
Reverse psychology.
Just reverse psychology, where I mean, he does say a lot of things that are just crazy. But he did talk about the. Have you heard about this? What do they call those? I think they're disinformation agents, or those people that are. You know how they had the protests going on for Wall Street. What was that called again?
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street. Mm-hmm. They had that going on, and Alex Jones was one of the guys who talked about people infiltrating those events, and so they would have CIA agents or FBI agents dressed up as one of the protesters, some of the protesters, and
causing ruckuses and
causing all kinds of problems and causing stirring up a bunch of stuff, and that would allow the police and all that to sort of start cracking down, storming in, giving them a reason to storm in, and then
sense.
They would escort these guys away into some facility so that they just sort of did their job. And Alex was one of the ones that put that out there, and it seems as if the stuff that I saw was pretty legit.
Well, that could be traced throughout all the women's rights things. I mean, people throughout the ages, just the last century, even like chaining yourself to a bulldozer, any of those sit-ins or occupying things or having rallies or marches, or I mean, you wonder that could be true with all of that, to start that so that they have reason to kind of crack down on people and throw people, arrest people, make money off people.
Well, that was what a lot of the people who say that 9/11 was a inside job, they say that same thing, where it was allowed to happen so that we would have a reason to go to war.
It makes you sick, but you don't want to think that could be true or that they're capable of that. But I mean, I think there's information and a bunch of things in favor for that, and not. But I think we all have to make up our own minds, and
I personally
we'll never know.
Think the 9/11 thing. There's too many shady things.
There are too many shady things.
Too many shady things that happened there. But Alex Jones, I think he's got a video online. He seems to have a video about everything. But he's a wild guy. I like him. I mean, he's cool. He offers some good stuff. But you just have to be in the right mind, and you have to. Excuse me. I think you have to know if you're empathic. Like we are. We tend to take on the energy or the depression or if someone's really down, it sort of affects us. And so. You have to understand what kind of person you are, but
his video is intense. His videos are intense, huh?
Could you imagine him coming on the show, his screaming voice, like the way he does?
I'd be like, "Don't yell at me, Alex."
Oh man, he'd be funny.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna have a video of is our house burning down, but I have to go check the chicken, so that doesn't happen.
Oh, really?
I'm making organic chicken so I can make a lunch today.
Oh, okay.
And I had to get that going, so I'll be right back.
Okay,
sorry.
Awesome. So I just want to tell you guys also, if you missed any of our latest shows, we're going to be getting those posted here. Has some really awesome guests this past week. Like I said earlier in the show today, we haven't posted the last Free for All Friday show, which is episode, let's see, what was that? 332. Is that correct? 332? I think that's correct. Yeah, I think that is right. But we haven't posted that, so we're going to be posting that today. But we had some really cool guests. We did a show with Kit Campbell in the studio. I'm not sure if you guys have heard or knew about that. Actually, we had her yesterday, and that was sort of an impromptu show. And it wasn't even meant to be, but she was in town, and she is actually from Australia, from Tasmania. She's doing this really cool book tour, going around and doing some conferences and talks and stuff like that, promoting her book, The Irritable Brain Syndrome. So we had her on yesterday in the studio, and we'll be posting some of those photos to like Instagram and things like that. So that was a cool show.
That was fun, huh?
Yeah, and we've been getting a lot of work done with Dr. Bergman.
Oh my gosh.
That's been incredible.
Right?
Gosh, so good.
How do you feel? Do you feel like you've been seeing him for about 2-3 weeks, and I've been seeing him over a month now. What do you sense is different with you, or what's going on? Like,
well, it's sort of a subtle thing so far because we're doing a 6-month program with him, but I don't feel like I've really gotten all the benefits yet, but I feel like, obviously my range of motion is better in my neck. And for those who don't know, he does a lot of upper cervical work. So he talks about how the spine, the jaw, and all the alignment up there affects every, what do you call the, system, but the joints like the shoulders, the hips, the knees, and the ankles.
Oh,
what are these called? Like there's some name for it.
I know. Shoot.
But basically, everything works as like a slinky. And so when your upper cervical is off, it tilts one thing slightly, and then your other thing has to compensate. So your hips might have to compensate for your tilted shoulders. And so
all the way down to your feet.
All the way, yeah. And so I feel really good. It makes me feel like $1 million, especially after we do it. And it's amazing because we've been getting adjusted twice in a day before.
Yep, with a 2-hour period in between. They suggest to wait 2 hours. I don't think they'll really see you if you don't wait a couple hours between. But
isn't it crazy how you can get adjusted twice? And you
were really skeptical.
I was.
You're like, I don't think I'm not going to be able to crack the second time in 2 hours. Like, I just can't imagine that being. And I'm like, oh, you just wait, because I had it done a few times.
Yeah.
And my gosh, didn't you crack almost just as much or more the second time yesterday?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. You wonder, wow, what? So we went to go eat at a restaurant in between the 2 hours, and I don't know what happens, but somehow you hold stress and you need to be cracked again. And we didn't even do anything stressful.
We went and relaxed and had a nice late lunch.
The first time we did a float session, remember that?
Yeah.
We got adjusted again and we cracked again after. I mean, you couldn't do anything more relaxing than a float isolation chamber.
No, I agree.
You know? What is that?
Yeah, that's pretty messed up. Well, that was our conversation yesterday driving home. We're like, what is happening in between? Like, in between times, I mean, is it a forever thing where you're just always just living life makes you crunchy again and stressed out? I mean, is it the way we all hold our handbags, on one side of our body and causes subluxation that Dr. Bergman talks about in a lot of his videos? And by the way, Isby definitely says this is true. His YouTube channel is really informative and really full of just awesome information and lectures for anybody interested. We should post a link to Dr. Bergman's YouTube.
Yeah. He's got, I think, 400 lectures on there.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, that's
just
pretty amazing. Yeah.
But I feel like it's just everyday life. So, I mean, after the 6 months and we kind of get our major spinal issues taken care of, I'm still going to go in for regular adjustments, probably at least monthly, because there's nothing that beats the feeling of walking out of there feeling light as air. Something happens. I feel like I'm getting more oxygen to my brain or something.
Yeah,
it might just be the belief, but I swear by it. I love it.
Yeah, it's the most incredible feeling. And I think there's a lot to it. And I think that Dr. Bergman is one of the best in the nation, in the world. And he truly understands the body. I was there yesterday, and he was giving someone some advice about using turpentine.
Oh, which is interesting.
We had just been talking with Kit Campbell about that.
Talking with Kit Campbell.
And we talked with Dr. Jennifer Daniels on the show, episode 222. About turpentine and what that does. And it was really fascinating that Dr. Bergman, knows all about that. I mean, he's on top of everything. He
was showing some woman, wasn't he? He's talking a little bit about the protocol and then showing her the bottle of turpentine, which was the same exact bottle you said that Kit Campbell uses. What is that company called?
It's called Diamond Forest. In fact, we should buy some, but it's Diamond Forest Products, I think it's called.
Okay.
We'll put a link in the show notes, but yeah, it's turpentine, and
but what chiropractor is going to know different protocols? Like, I mean, the chiropractor I went to a few times when I had lower back problems adjusts you, and they're like, "Oh, I hope you feel better," and you're out the door. You're not going to have these conversations like you would with Dr. Bergman or Dr. DeWitt over there, which are both equally my favorite people. I love them both.
I think it's just amazing.
Yeah, if you guys end up going to see either one of them, you are in the best hands, in my opinion.
I'm excited. We're going to have Dr. Bergman back in the studio on the 17th.
I know.
I think. Yeah,
that's
Friday.
So fun on a Friday.
November 17th. Yeah,
a fun show, huh?
Yeah, I love him, and he's just but
he knows everything.
He really has a comprehensive, holistic approach, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah, really, just I love what he's doing, and Dr. DeWitt's amazing too. If you go see him, amazing. Yeah, I just love what they're doing. And yeah, so I've heard Dr. Bergman talk about this before, where he talks about how when we live our life and we're not aware of how we're holding our body, our skeletal structure and frame, what's happening is microscopic fractures that are happening. Like if you're sitting in an office chair and you're hunched over, you're causing little tiny stressors, like little earthquakes and little microscopic fractures that
in what, muscle or bone
in
or
the
tissue?
spine, yeah, and in the bone of your skeletal structure. And what happens is that over time, each one of those things, apparently, according to him, which makes a lot of sense, calcifies. And it's little tiny amounts of calcification get put in there, and so it's causing the actual spine to curve. And so remember he was saying on our x-rays that it takes 3 years for something to show up in the bones or something?
Oh, yeah.
Remember he was saying arthritis or something, it has to be at least older than 3 years.
I do.
So,
which is a trip.
When we sit down and we walk through life and we don't get adjusted, we're not allowing the body to get back to its original frame.
So is that what he was saying? Is that what subluxation is?
Gosh, I don't know. If you're a chiropractor and you're listening to this and you're thinking I'm completely wrong, let me know, because that's as far as I understand. Yeah. So
when the cracking is happening, up to your understanding, is that the decalcification? Is that what's actually happening when you hear the pops? Do you know? Yeah,
Dr. DeWitt was talking about how there's some pressure that builds up inside of the synovial fluid and in between each of the vertebrae, like little air pockets, and that's what gets released, a little like gas kind of thing. So that's what causes the pop. I don't know though.
So that'd be interesting if that's what actually makes a sound, because I think we're all freaked out like with those noises, thinking, oh my gosh, they're in there like smacking a bone or like, doing something real quick and that's my bone popping or something. But I think it's right. I think it's more like a release of pressure. That would make more sense to me.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like that would be a good thing to have what would be making those noises? It's not like...
It's got to be like an air...
a joint, like when
pressure.
you crack your knuckles, I don't think it's because you're cracking your bone. I think that there's something in between the sockets that is released. And even though it feels like it's a bone thing, it's actually an air thing.
So how do you feel about going to him and having your neck worked on like that?
Well, I'm okay. I'm getting better with it. I think I'm getting better with it, but Dr. DeWitt the other day is like, I'm not going to tear your neck off. Don't worry. And he was like, I thought I was all relaxed, and I think he could sense that I still wasn't 100% at ease with it. And I think it's just a time thing. Like, I think I have to do something repeatedly before I'm like completely comfortable with it and take away all the fear. But I'm getting a lot better. I'm getting a lot better.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. We both had chiropractic work when we were younger, didn't we?
Yep.
But there's a lot of fear out there about people in chiropractic work and stuff. And, I was the biggest fearful. I thought I'm never going to go back if I don't have to, if I don't have a lower back injury or something. I thought that too.
Because all you have to hear is one bad story and, but that's still hearsay. Mm-hmm. The people that I've claimed to know that have heard about these accidents, they didn't see it with their own eyes. They heard about it because they worked with a fireman who saw it, or, it's like a paramedic who showed up to a chiropractic office. And, maybe that was true, but it doesn't mean the person got paralyzed or anything. Like, right. I don't really know. I'm sure stuff could really badly happen if you're with somebody who just doesn't know what the heck they're doing. But my whole thing, remember we were coming home in the car yesterday, and I was talking about how it was really cool that you said... Because sometimes I'm, in the past when I talked about how freaky it was to give birth and how upset and scared I am to like go through that.
Oh, yeah.
And you said, well, think about it. Your body is actually made, woman's body is made to give birth.
It's designed specifically for that purpose.
And I said, oh my gosh, but I know what it's like to have so much pain because of all those ovarian cyst ruptures. And when I had that fibroid twist, and that's the most pain I think between that and the pancreas episodes, they're bad. There's bad news. And I thought, well, if it's anything worse than that, I just don't know if I can do a natural childbirth. Mm-hmm. And you reminded me, well, your body's actually made to do that. It's not made to have things explode and rupture in it. Like, that's not a natural state. You know, your natural body is going to be able to mostly, probably in most cases, deal with this baby coming out naturally. But yeah, when something ruptures or explodes and there's all kinds of problems going on in there, that hurts. That's not supposed to happen.
That's not supposed to be there. Yeah.
So when we were talking last night about driving back from the chiropractor, from Dr. Bergman, we were like, well, doesn't it make sense? Like, people might say it doesn't seem natural to snap, crackle, pop your body and be all, you know, contorted and have these people put all this pressure on you and whatever. But it doesn't seem normal that seems more normal that you'd want to get your spine back to a state of
its original state.
It's not normal to have the cracking and popping. It's like we shouldn't even have that in the first place. It just reminded me of that kind of a thing where, like, what's the ideal state, and then what's just something we've, you know, had to put up with because we thought that was the normal. So in reality, it's almost like a reverse.
Yeah, it's like
why are we afraid of our neck being adjusted? Because it's different. I was saying then, like, your neck might meant to be adjusted 3 inches or with 3 pounds of pressure, and it can handle that. It's meant to do that and to get back into its state. But, you know, you're not meant to go dive headfirst into the ocean and hit your neck on a rock and become paralyzed. Like, the angle at which you hit it, the force at which you hit it, the accident, you know, that seems, pressure. That's what I used to be afraid of. I thought if I go to the chiropractor, they're going to snap my neck and I have a chance of being paralyzed.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of that example of the giving birth and the fibroid and the pain to the natural state of, like, a controlled environment versus you just fling yourself out into the ocean and you snap your neck in a wrong way. You know,
Well, I think we do that with every area of our life. I don't think we really understand what normal really is. And then we get used to something that we think is normal. Like, it could be anything in our life. You know, working a horrible job or doing something for someone that you know is wrong, but you do it so long, it becomes your new normal. And I think we just get used to those things. And then that starts to skew our understanding of our baseline of where we started from. When we start thinking that the abnormal thing that we're so used to, we start thinking that's normal.
Right.
You know, and then you compare the original normal to your new abnormal that you think is normal.
Right.
And you think, oh, the original normal, that's so weird. I couldn't do that. That's abnormal. I don't want to do that. I'm afraid of that. But you forget because that was where you originally started, and that's what's normal. But then you start realizing, I'm way far off here. I'm doing things that are completely abnormal. I've gone against everything that I stand for, whatever it is in your life. And you start getting used to but when you wake up and start realizing that what you're doing is not normal.
That's the hard thing to come to grips with, because nobody wants to admit that the things they've done and the patterns they've fallen into and the stress they put their body through is not normal, you know?
Oh yeah. It's completely crazy. It's like we're talking about in the kitchen just before we started the show. It's weird how, you know, for us, living the way we do is completely normal. But if someone were to come in off the street and see the things that we do, they think we're complete nuts.
Totally.
You know, why, you know, here's Kate, you go to this other room in our house and here's Kate doing tapping. What the heck? Or, you know what I mean? Something like that. And we're just talking about how it's so strange that people don't live an anti-cancer kind of lifestyle, because we're talking about this Truth About Cancer summit that's going on right now, with Ty Bollinger. And, you know, we're just talking about how strange it is. There, people just sort of live this really toxic life and sort of just hope for the best at the end. Isn't that weird? So strange.
Well, you know what I was saying about that? That used to be me. I mean, until I became aware of, in my opinion, cancer is something you do and disease is something you do and you're an active participant in. I guess I used to think that I never personally believed that cancer was genetic. I knew too many people throughout my life that had died of cancer that didn't run in their family, quote. You know? So you never thought it was I never
genetic.
did. I never thought it was genetic. I thought maybe it could play a small part, but even in high school and stuff, I mean, I unfortunately, I had schoolmates that lost parents, you know, throughout those 4 years of high school, and cancer didn't run anywhere in their families, you know? So I was thinking, well, that's just so weird. Like, what was it? I mean, a couple of them had really fit moms and dads who were like marathon runners. And now that I know something, I'd say it probably didn't help to have a buildup of lactic acid when you're an extreme, you know, marathon runner, or, you know, that probably didn't help their case. I don't know what their diet was. I don't know. But I'm thinking now, like, yeah, I guess I never thought that it was the genetics, but I always thought, I thought if I'm remembering correctly, that it was just a random thing. Certain people just got cancer, and
there's no explaining.
They got certain types. I don't know why they got brain cancer versus breast cancer. So that's the farthest I ever thought about it. But you had an interesting point. Would you say that until your mom got cancer, you kind of thought the same thing, right?
Yeah, I sort of thought, I never really thought much about it. I just knew people got it. I didn't really, it's like you're 15, 20 years old, and you don't really think about these things.
I always did.
All. Did you?
Yeah, like Isby just said in the chat room, she said, I did. I thought that would be my fate. And I always thought at a young age, I would get some disease and die at a really young age. I always thought that.
Really?
Talk about
You thought that?
I always thought that. I thought I'm going to live some tragic, short life.
Wow.
But I thought it was going to be random. The reason I would get it is just because I just happened to get it. But
well, when my mom got cancer in 1995, sort of everything changed in a sense. I mean, it was like a wake up call, but the veil was only lifted halfway off my head or something. It was like, because I'm, at the time I was 21 or 20 or something like that. And I didn't really have an understanding of how things work completely. It's funny when you're 21, you think you have it all figured out, but man. So I
totally.
I just thought that, some people got it, some people didn't. I didn't really think too much of the genetics of it. But when my mom got it, I thought for sure, that was my biggest fear of is one day coming down with a diagnosis and having to go through what my mom went through. So, but I had this thought in the back of my head that I had a couple thoughts. I remember thinking that there has to be a better way to overcome cancer or to prevent cancer. There just has to be. This is not, I just thought this is not normal. And then, to go through the hair loss and the aging, how much chemotherapy ages you. And my mom couldn't walk for 10 feet without, trying to
running out of air.
Yeah, she had an oxygen tank and everything and 55 years old, And so I thought, wow, that's just so weird. And then I started to worry that was my fate. Not knowing any of the stuff that I know now about the work of Bruce Lipton and how your beliefs play a role in things. But at that time, that was my worst fear, is getting diagnosed with cancer and having to go through what my mom went through. But I just knew something. I felt like something, we weren't being told the truth. I remember, I just felt like there had to be more to this whole cancer thing than we were being told. I just thought something's weird about this, and I didn't really put it all together. I didn't even continue on with that thought process. I remember thinking that, and then that's it, and just because I was pulling out of the City of Hope when I was thinking that, I just thought this is so strange. Because I would go up to the City of Hope and
That's where she was for a while.
Yeah, I'd donate platelets to my mom for 4 hours so that she could have her bone marrow transplant. And I just remember pulling away thinking, this is just it's not normal. This is just weird, and then.
Well, you saw all the chemo, you saw cancer in the face every day. And
yeah.
I think that's different. That's interesting that you would think that, because I never really had to see anybody go through cancer. I just knew people had passed away from it. But I didn't either know them personally or never saw them in those days. So I bet that's kind of what made your reality a little bit sharper and what got you thinking, I'm sure. It
got me thinking. It didn't really get me going too much. I remember a friend of mine handed me a book in 2001 called Fit for Life. A friend of mine who now lives in Australia, and that was a game changer. That was a complete game changer. But before that, I remember going to my doctor before I knew anything about health, probably in 2000 or something, and asking him, why are all these people coming down with cancer? Why? What's the deal, And he said, oh, we just don't know. I think that it's just mainly because, we have better testing now. So the medical industry is much better at being able to detect.
He said that?
Yeah. And, his basic answer is, we don't know. But my guess would be the fact that our testing is much better now.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, to his defense, if you're able to get, if you have a couple cancer cells that it would take 20 trillion in order to make something that's even detectable.
They can catch it in time.
Then if you have more focused testing, sort of like, if we had a telescope that could look to Pluto instead of the moon, we could see more planets farther away. And so if the testing is better, they can detect cancer cells more quickly. And basically,
Oh, well, and then radiate or chemo you and treat you. I mean, that's still ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, if they can get better, they're going to get better testing for sure. So they're going to be able to. I remember the doctor when I was up at the City Hope a few years ago with my mom in the room, and the doctor was talking about doing genomic testing, where they're going to look at the DNA and find these microscopic cancer cells or something, and that's their goal, is to get everyone diagnosed.
They're gonna find that with everyone. Like,
yeah,
every guest we have on agrees that we have cancer cells every day. It's just the picture you get it at, whether it looks that day in your a little bit in your favor or not, whether it's tilted and slanted more toward looking like you have more one day, and that's the freakiest thing. People go get organs taken out over that.
They want to make it so that they can sell chemotherapy and radiation to every person that's living today in the world. So if they can get testing that shows that everyone would come up positive for a cancer diagnosis, then they're going to move in that direction. They're for sure going that way. But I just remember the doctor just not having an answer for me. I just thought, this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. And then it wasn't a couple years later or whatever that he gave, or my friend of mine gave me that book, and that sort of. But it's just weird to me how you can just sort of live your life and not take care of yourself, and you just sort of hope for the best at the end. I just thought that's so strange.
Isn't that sad?
It's just weird. So many people, our friends and family, do that.
Wow.
They just sort of eat whatever they want and go through as much stress as they can handle without breaking down.
You know what my mom said?
It's
yeah.
nuts.
Do you remember my mom the other day? Were they over here? Yeah, my mom and dad were over here for celebrating my mom's birthday and I gave a dinner, Oh,
you put the picture of that on Instagram.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It's really fun. But you started talking to my dad about something while I went over to talk to my mom, and on the other side of the table, we were
Your dad
chatting.
and I were talking about the future of technology.
I think you were, actually.
That was pretty cool.
Mark of the Beast.
Mark of the Beast, yeah.
That was always a light conversation.
Yeah.
Very dinner conversation.
Speaking of, I got a website to share about that in a minute.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay. How to not get it. Just kidding.
Right.
How to not take the Mark of the Beast.
Yeah.
My mom, it was so funny. She was saying, gosh, what did she say? Something like, well, I decided I'm never doing chemo. I would never do chemo or radiation. I just wouldn't. I told Dad that I would never do it, And I said, oh, well, why? And she goes, well, it just looks horrible. And, and I said, well, it is true. I mean, it does look horrible, and it 9 out of 10 times ends up becoming a bad thing for you and not saving your life. It'll end up killing you,
Yeah.
And just kind of chatting with her, and, I didn't give her real statistics. I don't know what the statistics are, but it's not good.
It's actually less than 2%.
Is it less than 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's 2 or 3 cancers that respond to chemotherapy. My mom's cancer is one of them, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I think testicular cancer or something. There's 2 other ones that actually do respond.
Yeah, you're right.
But they don't respond. They may not respond as much as you like, but just because they do respond doesn't mean that's it's going to mean you live.
Right,
it just means
exactly.
That they respond. But it's less than, I think they did a study in Australia, it's less than 2%, I think.
Oh, man.
So, anyway.
Yeah, no. So I was telling her that kind of a thing, and she just kind of agreed and then said, I said, well, what would you do? And she goes, well, I would come to you guys. Like, I would, basically, she said she would come to us and want our opinion on what to do. And thank God that we know what's going on, because we could help her.
Did she say that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I thought, wow, like, it made me warm and fuzzy at the beginning. I thought, well, that's cool. She values us enough to...
Little stroke your ego or something.
Yeah, I wanted to, that we could help her, and we probably could, and give her a lot of information. But then I thought, I stood back a little, and I thought, whose job is that? It's not our job to save people. And as much as I would, and I would want to, because she's my mom and I love her, and I totally would help her, I thought, why is she not treating her body like that now? Like, why is she not preparing as if? Because, we're all fighting it off every day. So, how can she go to In-N-Out Burger, throw down all these fried foods, and then, and horrible genetically modified foods for years and years and years, all the while thinking, well, if I get cancer, Kate and Justin will come to my rescue. Like, then I'll change. Like, why does it take people
so weird.
It's probably, like I said after that dinner, when I was telling you that she said that I'm washing dishes, I thought, well, it's probably because she doesn't have major problems right now. She's not sick right now. She doesn't have major digestive problems like I've already had at my age,
Right.
She hasn't had any signs of high blood work like I have at my age. She, I just happen to be a younger age, finding that things are going terribly wrong at a faster rate.
Right.
The way we've been treating our bodies. So it's just funny what Ty Bollinger said. I remember that conversation we had with him that, he's the most unpopular guy at the Thanksgiving table. But the minute something goes wrong,
they all come running.
They come running. And I thought this is so true with your family, with your friends, but like, why not make the leap now? Why not invest in yourself a little bit now so you have a better chance of not even having to think about that kind of stuff, Well,
I think it's because of what you said earlier, that people don't realize they do cancer. They don't realize cancer is a verb. So I don't think people make the connection that my diet or my stress levels or my fear or anxiety, all this overwhelming pressure that I'm going through every single day is somehow affecting my body in a disease process. I don't think people think that. And so they don't think that, like your mom, I don't think she really thinks that eating genetically modified food and food sprayed with pesticides and chemicals and hormones from cows that are sick with all kinds of diseases and eating that, I don't think she thinks or understands that kind of lifestyle leads to cancer.
Well, I think you don't believe it, because I remember when you first made the shift and I hadn't, and you said, like, I remember we'd go out and you wouldn't eat anything that was not like organic, or you wouldn't eat meat at a place that it wasn't farm, or I'm sorry,
grass-fed.
Yeah, grass-fed and finished and things. And I used to think that was a little much, honestly.
Did you?
I was like, give me a break. Like, how much hormones really in this one piece of meat? Or how do you know? Or, but my gosh, like, I think what it takes is the awakening of realize, like, I think you have to clear, like we've talked about before, I think your diet has to get so much cleaner before the stuff even starts making sense to you. I really do.
Yeah.
Because the minute I started doing my first cleanse, which was a 3-month thing, along with, at that point I was really restricted in my diet. And that's when a lot of things happened. And not only did my diet clean up and make my mind more clear, but my emotions, I went through the ringer with my emotions, having to detach myself from the feeling of being happy when I ate my food and feeling like I had to let addictions to my food go. And that's really hard.
Wow.
But what it was replaced with, I think, and I know now for sure, without a doubt, was this awakening to everything we put in our mouth affects our body, it really, really does. And I wasn't ever conscious of that before.
Yeah. And you're right. It does take the act of maybe doing some juices so you get those electrochemical phytonutrients and minerals into your brain so that your brain fires and the fog is lifted and you're able to understand the concepts of this stuff. And I think that as you start to eat cleaner, your mind opens more. It's funny because a lot of times people say, I've heard people say, I think you used to say this too, that, this thing won't kill you. This one thing, this McDonald's, it won't kill you. And it's sort of like, I keep thinking, about David Wolf, and he was saying that, like, every food that I put into my mouth has to be supportive of the goal of my life and what my purpose here on life is. So many people don't think about that. And I contend it goes much further. I think that everything we eat our entire life affects our genetics and affects future generations.
I do too.
I think, I have no way of proving that. That could just be a bunch of woo-woo, but I think that everything affects our genetics and alters our genetics. And so David Wolf was saying, like, my goal is to be, at one point he was saying, I want to be the force in the universe today for bringing global consciousness and awareness to eating better and eating the right food. And I want to be a force, like a hurricane or something. Like I want to be much more than just a presence or a speaker or something. I want to be the force of this generation to wake up. And is what I'm going to eat right now on my plate going to support that? And you think, okay, well, not really.
A Twinkie might not be supporting it, right?
A Twinkie, not so much. Haagen-Dazs ice cream after some pizza,
maybe
not going to get you on your goals, And so it's funny because I think about that anytime I hear someone say, oh, that's not going to kill you. It's like, well, it's not going to kill you, but is it moving you in the right direction? Is it moving you in the right direction? And so it's one thing to say, oh, this thing won't kill you, but it's quite another to say, is this
propelling me toward my best self and my best life and what I have to offer the world? And
is this supporting my vision and my calling in
purpose?
Life?
What's funny is when you said that, I've had to overcome the funniest thing, and I know I've said this before on a past show, but not only did I come from the mind frame of, oh, it's not going to kill you.
Right.
I grew up in a family where it was like, this will be good for you. This ice cream will actually be good for you.
Yeah.
I remember being sick, the stomach ache or the flu, and I was served, like most of us, saltine crackers and Sprite to help, to help you feel better.
I love it. Yeah, because that would obviously make you feel better.
Yeah, and then on day 2, when you actually weren't throwing up anymore, I remember my mom and dad would come in. And I'm saying this, they had the best intentions. They didn't know. They didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't know.
But they would come into my room and be like, what can we get you from, does a fish sandwich sound good from McDonald's? Or a hamburger?
You need to get to something substantial in your tummy.
Yeah, you need to eat something. And I'm like, I guess a fish sandwich. And I was feeling like half crappy, and then they bring it and you could eat like 2 bites and then you're like woozy. But by the next day you're like, oh, fish sandwich. You'd gotten over your illness and you were just ravenous.
And you attribute it to that, right?
Yeah, but I remember them saying, this will be good for you. This will be good for you. And then later I remember talking to my parents, like we'd be, at I don't know,
restaurant or something.
And then go outside and walk around the street afterward, and they'd say, oh, anybody want ice cream? And I remember a couple times where I was like, I don't know. And they're like, oh, it'll make a man out of you. It's good for you. Like, it's good for you. You're,
it's good for your bones.
Yeah.
It's got calcium.
Well, not even that. No, not even on a physical thing. It was just like, this will be good for you. It's just good for you. Like, wow. A little bit of this will be exactly what you need. It wasn't even like, it'll be good for your bones, or which would make more sense. It was none of that. It was like, it'll make a man out of you. It'll help you stand up straight. It'll, you'll love this. It'll be good for you. And I thought, wow, I've had a lot to overcome, like, as far as demystifying these.
If you look at the levels of things, I mean, you have had to overcome the fact that they're calling something bad good. Then you have to overcome another level up from that, which is it won't kill you.
Right.
And then change your perception about, is this food supporting your goals, and the positive and the, to the right of the scale. So it's like you have to come 3 levels down to come up where you are, Yeah.
Well, it's like ignorance. You've picked up your fork your whole life in ignorance. That's what I feel like. And now every time you pick up your fork, or you pick up your spoon, in our case with a lot of smoothies, it's like it just creates an awareness of what I am putting in. And I just don't eat with reckless abandon anymore without thinking, like you just said, what is this actually doing for me? Not only to me, but for me,
Yeah, what's it doing for you, right?
Right.
So interesting, isn't it?
Wild.
I want to talk a little bit about what your dad and I were talking about at the dinner table the other day.
Please.
About the future of technology. We've got a little website here for you that I think you're going to find very interesting and shockingly scary at the same time.
Oh, good. Bring it on. I love scary.
A little strange, right?
It's not good for us.
No. So we're going to run a little commercial here for our biomat. I'm not sure if you guys ever looked into these biomats, but they're just incredible things to have around your house for healing. And they do so many things. They help to detoxify the body. They help you to sweat. They help you to concentrate these heat shock proteins in your body to be able to release toxins from the cells. And they allow your muscles to contract and to relax. And they bring the healing energy of the crystals in. And just amazing things. And you use it every day.
I use it every day.
I use it about every other day.
I love it.
I was on there the other night and I fell asleep. I didn't tell you that a couple nights ago.
No, you didn't. But you love it when you forget to do it, but then when you do it, you love it. I do it more consistently than you, but when you do, I know, doesn't it like make you every night want to end your night like that?
Oh, amazing.
I love it.
All right, so this is episode 334.
Yes, sir.
Where we're at? 334. All right, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. The history of heat therapy dates back over 2,400 years, and it was Hippocrates who said, "Give me the power to produce fever, and I will cure all disease." This FDA-approved medical device called the Biomat is a mat that you can lay on, read on, sleep on, do yoga on, sit on, and it can be used on office chairs, massage tables, and the like to help the body heal itself. It's inlaid with 30 pounds of healing crystals using amethyst and a rare black tourmaline, producing negative ions in a healing electrical field. These healing crystals help to restore cellular health by replacing electrons to the atoms, as well as penetrating deep into the body by 4 to 6 inches. What can the Biomat do for you? It'll improve your skin, burns as many calories as if you went jogging for 30 minutes. It improves the immune system by up to 40% or more, reduces stress and fatigue, removes toxins, lowers cholesterol, relieves pain, revitalizes cellular metabolism. It improves cell channels to deliver nutrients and oxygen to every one of your cells. It activates over 3,000 enzymes. And even a Harvard medical study showed cancer cells die at over 42 degrees Celsius. It reduces stress hormones by up to 78%. It allows your body to produce heat shock proteins, which increases endorphins, NK cells, T cells, and lymphocytes. It's very, very low EMF, and it's got a 17-layer technology. Dr. Mark Sirkis is the director of the International Medical Veritas Association. Explain to us more about these biomats.
These biomats are these far infrared mattresses. You lay on them, or you sleep on them, or both. You do very heavy treatments during the day, and at night you sleep at just a nice comfortable temperature. These biomats are like these love machines, comfort machines, and healing machines, because what they do is they just radiate out light, far infrared light, and you can radiate yourself all night long while you're sleeping when you're not doing anything else. And what happens is this light penetrates the body and turns to heat. And the first thing that happens when you bring your core body temperature up 1 degree is your immune system strength increases by 40-50%. They feel when you lay down on them, you guys know, you have one. So it's like the feeling is so good. It's like being in the cuddling with a lover, your wife or husband. It's just warmth and comfort.
How are you using biomats for patients in your clinics?
The cancer treatment using heat is very aggressive, meaning during the day, you sandwich yourself in between two of them, turn it on to high heat, and bake the cancer. The cancer will die before you will. No, this is, you can awesome. Go to England and spend $20,000 and use microwave a cancer out of existence. These biomats basically do the same thing. Radiation therapy for cancer is really a solid idea. Unfortunately, oncologists use the wrong radiation. They use radiation that kills you. This biomat uses radiation that can save your life and make your life more comfortable, keep you warm in the cold, and help take care of your kids and all. The list doesn't end.
Yeah, because isn't there some sort of temperature at which cancer cells will start dying?
Right, and it's below the temperature that human cells will die.
So you really like this biomat far infrared technology, don't you?
But it's strengthened me. Well, now the kids are addicted to it. They fight on who's going to sleep on it at night. And it not only changed my life, but it changed my medical practice and my books. This is a great machine for anybody who lives in the cold during the winter. Instead of heating a big house, you just heat yourself. Bottom line, it brings good feelings. Just lay on this biomat, and it gives the strength back.
I can attest to that indeed. Kate and I love ours, and we think you will too. Learn more about these amazing biomats at extremehealthradio.com/biomat. Or you could check them out in our store as well. Again, that's extremehealthradio.com/biomat.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
Doing a little typing in the old chat room?
I am.
Is that what you're doing? One-handed typing because you got the laser going. I love it.
I am.
You're pretty good at one-handed typing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
My little known talent. I know I had a cup of bone broth in one hand,
nice.
Drinking that, holding the laser on my belly in the other. And then when I had about a quarter of an inch left, I gave the rest to Maggie. And then I thought, well, I can type with one hand, so... Hey, I'm a multitasker.
I know, right?
That's all while I was cooking chicken and making bone broth.
Gosh, that's like 5 things at once.
Well, thank you. Once again, little known fact.
I love it.
Thank you.
So you got the little laser there. Yeah, if you guys are interested in the biomat, let me know if you have any questions about it. Isby asked in the chat room about whether or not it helps for spinal injuries. I don't know. It depends on what your spinal injury is, and I know that it's incredibly healing. So
Well, I posted in the chat room, I remember Dr. Circus mentioning that they should have all of these in hospital. They should have them in all hospitals because of the pain and comfort pain management and comfort they bring.
Oh, right.
And let me tell you, I mean, I've laid on that thing with severe menstrual cramps and backaches, and I don't know if it like actually, quote, takes it away or cures it or whatever, but the comfort you feel definitely eases the body. So I think that you're able to not tense up and react more to the pain you might be experiencing.
I've had it work really well for my lower back.
Have you?
Extremely well. Yeah. It's I've had some real tightness in there, and I think I slipped a disc many months ago or a year ago, and it's helped a lot. But it depends on what your spinal injury is, if it's scoliosis or something like that. So I would definitely look more into it and do some research about that. But fascinating thing, that biomat. And if you can afford it, it's a great thing to add to your sort of healing, sort of your
tool belt.
Your tool belt. It's almost like, you're able to create a mini wellness center in your home if you have some of these things, like the sauna and this.
The rebounder.
Yeah, it's like a little wellness kind of studio in your home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
I'll tell you what, though, this laser works wonders. I just had a little bit of it's interesting. I haven't had like a twinge of pain in my pancreatic area for so long, and then just during the end of the last segment it just started acting up, so I'm doing the laser on it, and I pretty much, it's been 3 rounds and I don't feel it much right now, which is good. So
really, I
think it's amazing.
Gosh, you wonder, are these things really helping? Are they really? I wish I knew.
I know.
I really do wish I knew, but I'm just going to believe it. And it's just, because I've had that thing work on me, the laser on, every now and then I get a little indigestion, and I think it's because we've been learning about the Vata body type and that sort of thing. And the Vata body types don't do well really with unripened fruit. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I've had avocados that have not been ripened completely, and I've eaten them really fast in like a smoothie. And so I get this really painful indigestion. And there are times that it's so bad that I've had this indigestion where I haven't been able to sleep at night. I cannot sleep. The pain is so bad.
Yeah.
And I've had to actually throw up the contents in my stomach because it just never left my stomach. And then all of a sudden you can go to sleep because you got the stuff out of you.
I mean, you've had that numerous times since I've known you.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I've never had anything work other than throwing up. And that is just like, fortunately I haven't had it in a long time, thank God. But I've never had anything work except for that laser, which is so weird.
Well, how do you account for, what do you say about that other than, in your experience, it seems to be what is helping? I'm encouraged by the emails I'm getting from people about the lasers and what they're doing with them. And
we've had quite a few, though.
Oh my gosh. Our friend Tana said that she's been seeing pretty good results in a couple things with her and her husband. And then they've actually been using it on their dog who had seizures. And she says it will stop a seizure from either starting, or if she gets it right at the beginning, the dog will start going into like a seizure and then come right out of it and go right to sleep.
What does her dog have? Is a health
I don't know if
condition?
it's like epilepsy or something, but yeah, major health stuff going on. And
it stops the dog's seizures?
Yeah, it stops its seizures. She says she's used it a few times. And that's crazy. That's what you want to hear. And then when you hear it, you're like, right on. Like
it's almost like, if you were to win the lottery or something weird like that, where it's like, it's unbelievable.
Right.
And so it's so unbelievable that you don't want to believe it, that you just think it's too weird that would, because we had the same thing with Maggie and her back. Remember, she's injured her back probably 3 times since we've had her. And in the last time, the previous 2 or 3 times, it might be 4 times, but the previous couple times that she injured her back, we had to put her on bed rest. She couldn't leave the house. We couldn't do a walk with her for 2 weeks or something. Couldn't take her out except for just to go down to the bathroom on the grass.
Yeah, we had to keep her on bed rest for 2. How do you keep a dog on bed rest for 2?
3
weeks.
So
3 weeks, yeah.
And this most recent time, we used she pulled her back and was doing the same thing. And then that evening, we used the laser. I think that afternoon and the evening, different sessions on her.
We did, I think, a total of 3.
We would find her on her spine where she was sensitive to where she may have pulled a disc or something. So we'd find that area and then we apply the laser to it that evening and then all next day. And after that, she was wanting to play with her ball. I don't know. Maybe she didn't injure her back completely. And so maybe that was what was going on and she would have healed anyway.
Right.
But it just seems to be, there was nothing that indicated that, because she was, every time I remember she'd move, she'd yelp.
I know, like the same, like all we have to base it off of is the past injuries, and they seem to be going the same way, but.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, so I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, wild.
I know what you mean.
Stuff. So how do you like this bone broth?
I love it.
It's good, huh?
It doesn't really taste like chicken, even though it's made out of chicken parts.
Chicken parts.
We bought this one because we usually make our own bone broth, but we found out that you found it when we were in the desert having a really nice time. You brought up a video by Sean Croxton, and he was interviewing a guy or cooking in his kitchen with a guy who has a local company here, only about, a 40-minute drive away in Vista, California, who makes an organic, legit broth.
With artesian's spring water.
You're getting I think he's boiling the feet and the really good parts of the bird to be able to get nutrients out of it. And
they're all organic, grass-fed, or completely organic chicken. And
you know what sources it's coming
artesian's
from?
spring water. I wonder if they use the watered down artesian well water. I wonder if they're using that same water that we get.
At the spring?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's incredible. If you go to, what is it? I think it's bonebroth.com, right?
I think it is.
I'll put a little link to that, bonebroth.com. And
they
you can
ship
buy
anywhere, don't they? In the U.S.?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really great. So we actually are they sell it in all of San Diego County at like 8 different stores. But there was one in Orange County, and it happens to be like
right
half a mile from us. Yeah, right down the street. So we went and stocked up. I had them order 8 of them for me, and we have them in the freezer. And right now I just put one on the stovetop to thaw out. And we are having basically a bowl of broth for during the show as our little coffee break. But
you didn't put it on the stove to de-thaw?
Hey, now. I always get that confused. Everything's like, do you want me to de-thaw it? That doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
Defrost. My family always made fun of me for that, too.
I thought you learned it from them. I thought they all say that.
Well, I think that I thought they did. I think I've just been saying it wrong and thought, well, that's what my family always said. But
then you realized, no, I'm the weird one.
No. It's like my mom let me go around for till I was 20 saying the word gigantic.
What is it?
Well, instead of gigantic, I was crossing gigantic with huge, and I'd say it's hygienic, and nobody ever, because they thought it was cute.
Oh my gosh!
Oh man,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So your dad and I, when he was over, and your mom was telling you about how she would just come to us for nutritional help if she ever got cancer. By the way, we haven't fleshed all that out because I have a couple more thoughts about that. But your dad and I were talking about the future of technology and cell phones and all this stuff, and I was telling him about how, a lot of people are thinking there's going to be a merge between biology and technology. You're going to start wearing, they have these things, implantable technology where you can get this skin that's, in fact, I should pull it up. There's an article about it, but you can get this smart skin. It's just
what is smart skin?
Let me look it up. I have the link right here, actually. But we were just talking about all these things that are going on and nanotechnology and, where everything's going. Okay, so can you move my screen real quick? Mm-hmm. You see that guy's arm there?
Oh.
Smart. What is it? What's the headline there off to the right?
Implantable. 9 real technologies that will soon be inside you. Oh my gosh. What is that? Was he a burn victim or something?
So this guy, it says number 1, implantable smartphones. Sure, we're virtual connected. Wow, this article's not very good. It's on Yahoo. Sure, it's because he says, sure, we're virtual connected to our phones 24/7 now.
Virtually.
Oh. Mm-hmm. But what if we were actually connected to our phones? That already is starting to happen. Last year, for instance, artist Anthony Antonellis had an RFID chip embedded in his arm that could store and transfer to his household smartphone device. Researchers are experimenting with embedded sensors that turn human bone into living speakers.
What?
Other scientists are working on eye implants that let an image be captured with a blink and transmitted to any local storage, such as an arm-borne RFID chip. But what takes the place of the screen if the phone is inside you? Techs at Autodesk are experimenting with a system that can display images through artificial skin, or the images may appear on your eye implants.
Ooh.
How crazy is that? So you could have a phone that's embedded into your skin, and the screen of it is in an eye implant, like maybe. That's just nuts.
That's just wrong.
Well, there's also, check this out. If you scroll to the right,
can I try this?
No, let me. Cyber pills that talk to your doctor. Implantables won't just communicate with your phone; they'll chat up to your doctor too. In a project named Proteus, after the ENSY, EENSY, how do you say that? ENSY? Body navigating vessel in the film Fantastic Voyage, a British researcher team is developing cyber pills with microprocessors in them that can text doctors directly from inside your body. The pills can share literally inside info to help doctors know if you're taking your medication properly and if it is having the desired effect. Dude,
what?
Brave New World or what?
Oh, well, that's what you were talking with my dad at the end. My dad said he started reading it like 3 different times. He said he had to take breaks. Did you hear that? Was that because it got too much for him or because he got too busy and he just wasn't able to continue on reading the book?
Oh, with the Brave New World. Oh, we should put that on the show notes.
That is the best book, but it is happening.
He had to stop it, didn't he?
Yeah, was he saying he had to stop it because it was weirding him out and it was too heavy? Or was he saying he had to stop it for other reasons?
That's a good question.
Huh.
Check this one out. This will be a good one. Bill Gates' implantable birth control.
Oh, gosh.
The Gates Foundation.
Of course, really? Mr. Depopulation himself.
I know, right?
Okay.
Instead of a Depop, he's going to be
Depop.
He's going to be Depop. Bill Depop. Depop Gates. The Gates Foundation is supporting an MIT project to create an implantable female contraceptive controlled by an external remote control. Dude, that's freaky.
What? Say that again.
The Gates Foundation is supporting an MIT project to create an implantable female contraceptive controlled by an external remote control. The tiny chip generates small amounts of contraceptive hormone from within the woman's body for up to 16 years. Implantation is no more invasive than a tattoo. Thank God. And said Dr. Robert Farah of MIT, quote, the ability to turn the device on and off provides a certain convenience factor for those who are planning to have families. Gives losing the remote a whole new meaning.
Oh.
Check out how small this thing is, too. Look at the screen.
Oh, my gosh.
It fits right on the end of your fingertip.
How in the world?
The question is, who's going to have the ability? Do you think you're...
It's going to be the doctor. You have to get a note if you want to get pregnant.
That's true.
Seriously. It probably has to all go through your doctor. You have to clear it, make sure this thing's probably going to have some sort of like a, we don't trust you with it. You don't know. You could be giving yourself too much or too little of something. You have to go through your doctor.
How about the cyber tills that talk to your doctor? I mean, this is a pharmaceutical CEO's wet dream, isn't it?
Seriously.
Isn't it?
Seriously.
To have these things communicate to your doctor, and then your doctor can call you up and get you in there and scare you into taking more medications. Well,
as we just said, this like these chips or whatever for the contraceptives are the new IUDs. And it's true. And we all know from those that they're made out of copper and all kinds of metals. And if you're implanting anything in your body that's foreign, that alone, you got problems.
Yeah. So there's
not even messing with your hormones, but when you have a metal object in your body, I mean,
oh yeah,
holy moly,
your entire body, the electrical, biological makeup, biome of your body is going to reject that.
Of course.
Anytime you have a foreign object in your body, whether it's, DNA of a tissue from a graft implant for an ACL, a torn ACL from a cadaver, or you have metal that binds to the bone, or you have braces, or you have a root canal, you have anything inside the implants, breast implants, metal in your spine or in holding a bone together. Anytime you have these things in the body is always going to reject that, and it's going to be a low-level immune system response, for the rest of your life. Crazy, these pills are going to talk to your doctor. So there's this obvious merging between biology and technology that's just weird.
Wow, I didn't know that's what you guys were chatting about over there at our lovely dinner conversation.
Well, while your dad and I were talking about that, your mom was telling you that she's not going to get chemotherapy because she's going to come to us.
Instead, she'll get talking pills.
I know.
Tell you when it's eating up all the cancer in your body. My lordy lord.
So what is it about people that that want to run to the supposed experts if they have a problem and not take care of themselves prior to this?
Well,
like your mom was saying.
I think because we're all led to believe we're stupid and we don't know anything because we didn't go to Harvard and get a medical license, and we don't trust ourselves because we think we're dumb. I mean, I think that's what it boils down to. You want to trust somebody else who knows more than you, but nobody knows your body like you. I mean, you know? Yeah.
No, and I think that scares people. It's because I think that people don't want to be in control of their own life and their health and everything about their lives. People don't want to be in control because it's easier to live a life where you give up your freedom and your power and your rights and your control for the convenience of having other people take care of this stuff for you. It's easier to live like that.
It is easier. I mean, I lived in that. You lived in that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we chose to go to doctors more in the past because we assume they know more than us. And
right.
You know, I mean, I cringed thinking about all those antibiotics and Z-Paks I was given just for a slight sinus pressure. I mean, I just thought, well, they know more than me. They know if I need an antibiotic. I don't know. It might be too late. I might get an infection. Now I think, what the heck? So you get an infection. Who cares? Like,
big deal.
Big deal. You can fight it off. Like, unless I'm dying, I'm not taking one. Like,
what is a Z-Pak? What is that?
Oh, it's that Zithromax or whatever that
just about
killed me. Yeah, it's an antibiotic, and they love to throw that out. I used to eat that stuff like candy.
What would they give it to you for?
Oh, sinus infection, sinus pressure. Every time I went in, I thought I had something.
Wow. So they think you maybe had, or you could get an infection and they give you that.
Well, yeah, they'd be like, well, you know, it's the start of something. It's better off. You're better off just, you know, nipping it in the butt. And oh man, that just makes me sick now. I think of all the antibiotics I took, and it's like, you wonder why you have gut problems.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, in fact, I was so dysfunctional in my thinking that I used to think I was safe on antibiotics. Like, I loved to be on them when I was younger.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
You loved it?
Yeah. Because I thought, I mean, this is really weird. I don't even know why I'm sharing this because it's so weird. But I used to, why not, right? Free for all Friday.
Hey, anything goes.
I used to, because of my peanut allergy, I was aware of the anaphylactic. If you had a trace of a peanut and your throat would start shutting, you know, the EpiPen could save you and whatever. Well, I was under the impression when I was younger, I mean, I'm talking like 15 and younger, that antibiotics would keep all your pathways open. And that it would keep you from going into a state like that because it was fighting off all the bad things, even histamines in your body.
From the peanut.
Because it was inflammation. So if you were on a course of antibiotics.
Like all the time?
Yeah, or just whenever you didn't have to be as worried about what you were eating in case you had an allergic reaction to something. Wow. I thought that honestly would keep me from going into sort of an anaphylactic shock.
Wow.
Yeah, and talk about, misinformed and young and stupid.
Right.
But I mean, that was a reason for me to want to run to the doctor and get antibiotics because I thought I was safe. And I was living in this world, this fake world of safe, you know?
I guess a round of antibiotics would be like a week's supply, right?
Oh, yeah, probably like 10 days at the most.
Okay, so how many of those little
Z-Paks?
Yeah, like segments in time or like a week supply do you think you took?
Oh, gosh. You mean in my lifetime or?
Yeah.
15.
At least?
At least.
Wow.
Probably 15 of probably 15 to 20.
Whoa.
I mean, yeah, it's not funny. It's like when I used to take Advil if you had a minor ache, you know, you just, I have minor aches now that go away. Right. And they go away within 2 minutes. Like, isn't that funny?
I got an itch on my back. I need to take an Advil.
Pretty much.
Wow. That's crazy.
I know. It's really sad.
So we brought up a website when your parents were over called, I don't know if you guys have seen this. It kind of goes back to this whole idea of the merging of technology with biology, but it's called Cuff, CUFF.io. And I'm going to share it in the chat room right now.
I came across that on Facebook. It was an ad. It was it was like one of those ads that you see come up on your personal site. And I just thought, oh, what is this cuff? It looked like really cool jewelry, but then I saw some sort of chip involved, and I thought this is gonna be rich. This is gonna be good.
Oh gosh, yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah, this is one of the freakiest things I've ever seen.
So it's this idea of putting this smart chip technology in the size of like a little tiny jewelry kind of thing, and they make these necklaces and bracelets and other types of earrings and things, where you can snap this little flat rectangular
Tiny
piece.
little thing.
It's probably about the size of your thumb, like from the tip of your thumb to your first knuckle. Mm-hmm. It's like a square little thin,
real
flat, and it looks almost like a gemstone or something. It looks like a black, really nice, sleek looking gemstone or something, and you snap it into a bracelet or a necklace, and it looks like a really nice piece of jewelry. But what it's doing is connecting to your smartphone. So they're trying to sell it as all these different angles of women being safe.
How it protects you.
Yeah, it keeps track of your calories and what you eat.
Yep.
It keeps track of your location, obviously.
The scariest part is they show the girl having that lunch with her friends and wearing her bracelet, and then she can't hear her cell phone ringing in her purse, so it vibrates. It lets you know when you're getting a call, so you can't miss anything. And then it also alerts you if you walk away from your cell phone. It'll alert you to walk right back and get it.
Oh, if you accidentally...
If you walk out of its proximity, I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's incredible, because you think about, don't you think the health insurance companies would love to know what you're eating?
What you're doing, what you're thinking about, where you're running.
If you're, whether or not you're going to the gym, whether or not you're taking care of yourself, whether or not you're eating like pizza.
Right. You're uninsurable.
You're at high risk. You're uninsurable.
They can charge you $1,000 more a month.
That's coming. If I owned a health insurance company and I was completely living an unconscious life, and I wanted to make sure that we, made as much money as we could, and also didn't pay out on claims as much as people claimed, I would do that.
I know.
So it's coming. Mm-hmm. Which is really strange.
Yeah.
Strange world, this whole thing.
The thing that kills me about the commercial is you watch at the end and the girl's running toward it's in the middle of the day, but she's running toward like a bridge in the middle of a park, and there's this predator on the other end. They look shady, and so she hits this little button on her cuff, and it says it alerts your friends and family. I'm thinking, okay, it might alert them, but by the time anyone actually gets to you in the middle of wherever you happen to be running in the woods, you're screwed. Like if you're going to get taken out by a murderer or a rapist, they might know where to find your body, which is, I guess, a good thing, but they're not going to be able to come and like ward off the predator in time. It's just so funny the way they spun that as like, you're going to be safe when all your friends and family know where you are. It's going to keep bad things from happening to you.
So here's the thing too. It's causing women to rely on, in the same way that you thought that taking antibiotics was going to save you from an anaphylactic shock. Mm-hmm. It's causing women to rely on a technology like this and not go through a self-defense training class. Because if you did that, if you learn how to shoot a gun, if you go through and take some martial arts training, you're going to know that's empowering. You're going to learn how to take care of yourself, and you're going to learn how to move through space and time so you don't put yourself in danger. You're going to listen to your gut and start listening to your body and start trusting your gut and the communication between your gut and your mind. And you're going to say, I need to make a right turn here and go down this block instead of that block. So doing that kind of thing is empowering, right?
Right.
But when you are able to get something like this, it takes all of the personal responsibility side of life out when you can rely on technology. What if the battery dies? Or what if you're walking down somewhere and the thing just doesn't work right and you can't, you know what I mean? So it takes this whole idea of personal responsibility, what we were talking about earlier, out of people's lives.
Right.
Why go learn martial arts? I'm a busy, career-minded woman. I work till 6 or 7 o'clock at night. I've got a family. I got to come home and cook for the kids or whatever you do.
I'll just wear a cuff.
I don't have to. It's that whole thing of like,
taking responsibility for your own.
Yeah.
Yep. Safety, life, health, anything.
You just pass it off to someone else.
Right. Well, because then I was listening to this Hay House interview that was so good this morning. Didn't care for the interviewer, style, but the guest was Carolyn Miss. And my gosh, I love her. But she was talking about archetypes. And she's talking about how we are typically all, it's kind of like the Ayurveda style. You're typically 1 out of 3 body types.
Okay.
But you're a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But she's talking about how we're all these archetypes and we're all pieces of these archetypes, but you tend to kind of be a main one, at least for a certain season of your life.
Okay.
But she's talking about how easy it is to be the victim, how easy it is to be, everyone tends to at some point in life usually be the victim type. And like you just said, it's easy to just blame other people for your stuff, why the way you are, what happened, why you can't do this, why you don't have time for that. Like she put it in such an eloquent way, and it was like a smack in the head to me, like, oh my gosh, most people spend their whole lives blaming other people for things that have happened to them, And it's not, if you can't wake up and take personal responsibility for yourself and your actions and, we might not like these things we've done or continue to do, but there is some sort of like not a reward feeling, but there's some
payoff.
Yeah, maybe it's just a payoff you feel when you stop being the victim role. You knock that archetype back and you really start living in a way that's, again, conscious. And that word gets so old, but it's true. I mean, when you have an awakening and you start living in a more conscious way, you do things different, and then that stops the cycle. And then, you start, true. All of a sudden you find yourself in a Kung Fu class. It's
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's true.
Whatever it takes for you to be awake and take responsibility for your life.
I'm going to read a little bit of this book because it's after the break here, but we're going to do, it's I don't know. I think what you said is so key, because there is a payoff to having these negative things happen in your life and to be the victim. Mm-hmm. And we talked about that on our last Friday show, 332, about why do these bad things or seemingly uncomfortable circumstances or feeling stuck or being in a place in our lives where we don't like it, we don't enjoy it, we hate it, this annoying, disturbing to us. Why do we have those things in our life? And there has to be a benefit. There has to be a payoff. And for a lot of people, that payoff is being the victim, playing the victim role. Mm-hmm. And then they can start getting sympathy from other people. And I think that, a lot of people like to feel like their story they tell themselves is, I have no power, woe is me.
I took no part in this. This happened to me. And so my only way of feeling any power or generating any power is to complain about it and get sympathy from people. Right. And you get that for a while, but that runs out.
Yeah,
because people are just a complainer. No one wants to be around you.
Yeah, no one wants to be around you. And because no one wants to be around you, that keeps the cycle going of people not wanting to be around you. And that gives you one more thing to complain about, that nobody likes me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And no one cares about me.
Yeah, it perpetuates this whole victim. You can see how after 5 or 10 years of acting like that, man, you're not going to have any friends. Your life's not going to be going right. All kinds of things are going to be wrong with you.
Wow.
It's weird.
It is weird.
And people play that victim role forever.
I know.
Don't
we all know one?
That's a nice, easy story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. I wonder if their karma, because I want to read a little book in this book about karma. And
I just want to read a little book. I'll just read a whole book.
A tiny little book, but just read a snippet out of a book about karma and see if we agree with it.
Okay.
Interesting stuff.
Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna take a little bit of a break. This is what episode 334. 334. Yesterday 333 with Kit Campbell.
Yep.
And we're gonna do a little ad here for the Bellicon Rebounder. Great machine. If you guys don't have one of these things, you might want to look into it.
Add it to your Christmas list.
Yeah, add it to your Christmas list. And I think sometimes they run little sales. I think there's sales going on all the time.
There are. You have to keep your eyes open for
at Bellicon, yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a fall sale, too, I think, going on right now, isn't there?
I'm not sure with the Bellicon, but I do know there is quite a good sale running for the Q laser systems.
Oh, really?
So if anyone is interested in purchasing that laser, either for the holidays as a gift or for yourself, you might want to look into it.
Yeah, every now and then, a few times a year, they do a promotion on the laser.
Which is huge. You think the Bellicon's having one right now, too?
Well, I know they had a fall... it's technically still fall, so it's... I know they had a fall sale. I think if you purchase orange bungees, because orange and fall,
right, pumpkins.
There's some sort of discount, so...
Gotcha.
Yeah, rebounding, incredible. Check it out. We're going to be right back right after this break. I have been a huge fan of rebounding for many, many years, and if you want to get in great cardiovascular shape, tone your legs, back, and butt, and stomach, as well as cleanse your lymphatic system from toxins and chemicals, you just have to start rebounding. It's imperative. And not only will it create endorphins that quickly become addictive to you, but it's very low impact as well. It helps to prevent sicknesses and diseases, as well as increase bone density, and it flushes toxins from your lymphatic system. It's amazing. And not only that, but it's a ton of fun also. I do it every single day for about 15 minutes. And we found the best rebounder on the market today in the world, bar none. It's called the Bellicon Rebounder. It's the Rolls Royce of rebounders, in my opinion. And let's listen to some of what our guests have had to say about rebounding. Robert von Sarbacher is a health researcher and creator of the Mini Beat Protocol. And Robert, what's your favorite exercise?
In general, probably one of the number one anti-aging exercises on the planet is rebounding. So 15 minutes a day is good for that. You can find people who have had thermography scans on cancers, giant tumors, and when they're doing a rebounder, it would start spewing out and shrinking right in front of your eyes, the tumor would, as they're on the rebounder. So it's really good for that sort of thing. It's also very good for exercising internal organs. It's the only internal organ exerciser that I know of known to man.
Dr. Lindsay Duncan is the CEO and founder of Genesis Today. And what's the best way that you think of to stimulate the lymphatic system of the body?
Rebounding is incredible because it's good for the lymphatic system, and there's more lymph fluid in the body than there is blood. And the quickest way and the most effective way to get the lymphatic system flowing is through rebounding itself.
Yeah, because the lymphatic system can't really detox itself, can it? I think you know.
No, the heart, we have the heart, thank you, for pumping blood. And we don't have a heart to pump lymphatic fluid. The only thing that really can pump lymphatic fluid is cardiovascular exercise utilizing the thighs, the thigh muscles. And that's why rebounding and getting a burn in that thigh muscle is so important for the flow and the stimulation of the lymphatic fluid.
Wow, and they even put cancer patients on rebounding, don't they?
Nutritionists do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but not a conventional doctor. But yeah, I've been learning about rebounding lately. It's quite an amazing thing.
Yeah, rebounding's amazing.
Health researcher and author of Cancer Step Outside the Box, Ty Bollinger. What do you do in your life to prevent cancer?
What do you do to treat cancer? What do you do to prevent it? Rebounding is something that I try to do on a daily basis. A little mini trampoline for those people that aren't familiar with the term rebounding, but it's basically just jumping up and down on that little mini tramp. What that does is it stimulates the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is one of our primary detoxification systems in our body, and most folks don't stimulate their lymph flow, and so the toxicity in their body builds up because their lymph is not stimulated, and the up-down motion on a rebounder stimulates the lymph flow better than just about any other exercise. So I do that almost on a daily, probably 5 days a week. I would say I average doing that.
And finally, author and speaker and creator of the Longevity Now program, David Wolf. Do you think the Bellicon is the best rebounder on the market today?
Absolutely. I was just with the crew in Europe that does the Bellicon rebounder, which is an incredible rebounder. My God, what a machine. And it doesn't use metal springs. It uses like flexi ropes. So it's very soft and fun, and it's just great to play with.
Well, there you have it. The up and down G-force actually stimulates every single cell in your body. It's incredible. And as someone who works out in the gym a lot and does Qigong, I think that the best physical aerobic exercise, in my opinion, is rebounding. It's just absolutely incredible for the human body. And the Bellicon is silent, and it comes with a warranty, and you can get them in several different sizes and colors, and some of them have bars that you can hold on to in case you're worried about balance. It's a well worth it investment in your health and in your future. So check them out in our store if you'd like, or you can check out the videos on extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. Again, that's extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. That's B as in boy, ELLICON.
All free shows, all the time, on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
So Kate.
Yo.
Baby Kate.
Baby Kate.
Baby Kate, as you're known around town here.
By like two people.
2 people.
But sure.
Every time Jules from the gym says Justin, so where's baby Kate?
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
My friend Aaron used to call me that when I worked at the surf shop.
Oh, really?
Baby Katie.
Baby Katie. Now, Baby Kate's better. Baby
Kate, yeah. But, in high school, I was more of Katie.
That's funny.
Which just does not fit me at all these days.
So I'm not sure what I think about karma. Do you have any thoughts? Actually, let's read that in just a moment. Get your thoughts on karma. As listeners, what do you guys think? Are you guys wondering, for those in the chat room, do you guys think that karma is a real thing, or curious? Or if you're a listener just listening to the podcast version, I'm curious if you guys think what you think about karma, because a lot of people talk about it, but I have a little excerpt out of a book that I'm going to read in just a second, but got this really cool quote that I posted on our Facebook group this morning. If you guys follow us on Facebook, it's cool. It's really, really interesting. It's just a quote from David Icke, and it says, "The greatest prison that people live in is the fear of what other people think." I thought that was really cool. The greatest prison that people live in is the fear of what other people think.
I agree.
And then Kay writes back, so how do you get out of that prison? Smiley face.
Question of the century.
Question, $1 million question, right?
I would love to pick that apart a little on another free-for-all.
You want to?
Yeah, I think that should be our opening discussion on next week's. Because I have a lot of thoughts on that.
We have definitely some ideas about how to free yourself from the prison of what other people think about you. And
from our own experiences, I think.
It's a lifelong process, and it's a journey, and it's a constant journey in terms of filling your mind with the right things and doing the right things on every level to get out of that prison.
Continually, because I'm nowhere near out of the prison, but I feel like leaps and bounds I've grown in since the beginning of even this show. So
it's so wild to think that, we create these prisons based on things that may or may not even be true with people. And if they're not true, then we just create a prison for ourselves that is based on
even exist.
Something that didn't even exist. Yeah, I think we should flesh that one out, because we've got a lot to share about that.
I have a lot of roads we could go down, I think.
Yeah.
That's a great quote. Thank you for sharing that.
So I'm reading this book called Reinventing Yourself by Dick Supfen. Supfen?
How do you say it? How to spell it?
Sutphen.
Supfen.
A medical self-renewal system.
It definitely doesn't roll off the tongue, does it?
No, you should have come up with a stage name,
Yeah, I know. I can't think of a good one. Yeah.
I'll just say the first guy that came to mind was Bob Saget. But
I was going to say Jim Jones.
Jim Jones. He was a cult leader.
I know. Bob Saget.
Bob Saget.
Who doesn't love a good, what was that show called?
Family something?
Family Tie. No, what was it called?
With Mary-Kate and Ashley?
Yeah, what was it? No.
House.
Full House.
Full House.
Thank you. Gee.
What if his name is something different? Bob Saget could be a stage name.
That's true.
Okay, so
Dave Jones.
So this thing is about karma, and it's chapter 17: karma, reincarnation, and higher self.
Wow.
So let's see if what he's saying makes any sense here. He starts out, now to bring some awareness together, if I pick up a stone and toss it into a pond, I am the cause, and the effect is the splash and the ripples caused by the stone. I have disturbed the harmony of the pond. The ripples flow out and back until, due to the physical law of dissipation of energy, the pond eventually returns to its original harmonious state. Like the ripples, your thoughts, words, and actions create vibrations that flow out into the universe and back to you until eventually, over many lifetimes, your balance, your karma, and your harmony is restored. Everything you think, say, and do creates or erases karma. And as if that's not enough to deal with, this includes the motive, intent, and desire behind every thought, word, and action. When you begin to explore the motive, intent, and desire behind everything you think, say, and do, you find you're asking yourself a lot of questions. Are you helping your friend out of true compassion, or because it pumps your ego? Or because your friend is now in debt? Or is it because your friend is now in debt to you? Do you give to charity at the office because you desire to help? or because you are afraid of what people in the office will think if you don't. It's easy to look like you're creating harmonious karma when you really aren't, because your motive, intent, and desire are not always what they appear to be. Why do you do what you do is just as important as what you do from a karmic perspective. He also says, I also contend that neither God nor the lords of karma bestow your suffering upon you. It is your decision and yours alone to either accept or refuse to deal with the opportunities you are experiencing in life. You are responsible for everything, for absolutely everything that has ever happened to you. You are your own judge and jury. On a higher self level of awareness, you are aware that in order to progress, you must learn. And the fastest way to learn is by directly experiencing the consequences of your own actions.
That's a great section right there.
Yeah, it goes on and on. It's really interesting.
Do you believe that? Resonate with that?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people talk about karma. It seems like the Bible talks about karma in some sense, where they talk about what you sow, you will reap. And every spiritual tradition talks about the same kind of concept.
Do unto others as you would have do unto you.
Yeah.
Don't judge lest you be judged. I mean, It does seem like this, what goes around comes around.
I don't know what, I don't know. I guess there are lots of things that we live in life that aren't provable, and we have faith in. Mm-hmm. So it's not as if everything is scientifically fact and provable, but when I read something like that, my first thought is like, how does this guy know? I mean, how does he know what karma really is, and the fact that it's got to be balanced out? So if you think negative thoughts, or if you think, ill will towards someone, that's creating a karmic disturbance in the field, and somehow that has to be rectified either by you or by them. It wouldn't surprise me at all if all this stuff is true. It just seems so strange, doesn't it?
It does, but it does all seem to be woven very thread-like throughout all religions and philosophies, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It seems like it's in all religion and spiritual traditions. Yeah,
I don't know.
As a Christian, people say that, Christians don't like karma because it sounds too New Age.
Yeah, it does. Right.
Right. So they immediately write it off. But what they're failing to see is that karma is indirectly talked about using different language in the Bible. So that's
right. Well, call it what you're going to call it, but if you can look at it from an outside perspective, other than these words we're all afraid of, or might be afraid of, or turned off by, there definitely seems to be truth.
But it does make you think, if it is true, if karma really is true, it does give you some sort of perspective in the idea that you can be directly involved in the kind of life that you're creating for yourself. And it does give you some sort of personal power in the sense that you're either the author of your bad life or you're not.
Yeah. Your poor decisions or your rectifying of things.
And two, it's also really interesting to know, because let's say you're a really negative person, or you have a high level of hatred for people. And if karma is true, then that hate is going out into the universe, going out into the field of what's going on with people and what makes up the vibrational energy of the earth. And that hate is being emitted almost like a frequency, or like an exhaust from a car that hasn't been smogged, that smells horrible. It's polluting the environment. So if you're hating someone, just thinking hateful thoughts, those hateful thoughts, just like a cell phone, are polluting the environment with the radiation. But since we can't see it, we don't know about it. So it does make you think that, like, what if everyone on the earth at one time thought a hateful thought about someone else on the planet, or a hateful thought towards something? You know what I mean? Like, would that change the collective consciousness in terms of our ability to be awake? Or would that change the course of our innovation? Or does that have any effect on, because I don't know. I mean, if thinking horrible thoughts towards someone doesn't just affect you, then it kind of makes you step back and think, wow, my thoughts are actually changing other people. And you don't want to pollute the environment.
I wonder if certain people can't be affected by that, though. People that are
strong.
Yeah, like the quote you just read. If they're not in that self-imposed prison of putting themselves in a place where they care so much what other people think, and they're not affected magically by what other people think or feel toward them, then I wonder if every person in the world could think an bad thought toward that person, and yet it wouldn't affect them. Because they're so evolved and okay with their spirit and soul and who they are that it would just reflect off them.
But then still, it's affecting. It's like the exhaust that goes out of a smog pipe. It's like the butterfly effect or something. It's the exhaust that comes out of a car here in Los Angeles. That may not directly affect someone in India, but eventually it will. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder if putting out negative energy is something that affects the entire planet as a whole, as a living entity. I don't know.
Wow. It makes sense. I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
The more we learn about like the Bruce Lipton stuff and the Carolyn Myss stuff and the power of thoughts, and I would, at least right now in life, tend to believe that there's a lot of validity to that concept.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, it kind of, at least at the very most, it empowers you, I think, a little bit, and to live like the Bible says, take every thought captive, and to, didn't Jesus say something about if you commit murder in your heart, you've already committed murder?
Adultery, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
yeah,
maybe there's something. Who knows? I don't know. It's all so weird, isn't it?
It is weird.
It's all, but I think it's, even if it's not true, it's probably good to believe in, just because it makes you a better person to think like, hey, my negative thoughts aren't just harming me. They could just be polluting the entire planet in a way that I never even understand, And so I don't want to send out this hatred into the field or whatever.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to do any harm to yourself by believing that, I guess.
I think growing up a Christian, I always I didn't really understand the power of your thoughts. I didn't, because it seems more New Age, and even though the Bible talks about it, I didn't view it like that. So I think it's added a lot to my life to kind of add that into my my philosophies and stuff. You got an eye problem over
I got
there.
a little eye problem, yeah.
Do you need to run to the bathroom?
No, I'm okay.
Can't get some, your eye's all red now.
I know.
You've been rubbing it for like 5 minutes.
I think I have an eyelash in my eye.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, but you didn't understand the power of your thought and how that affects you.
I knew that it was good to treat other people how you want to be treated and take Jesus' words into effect and just really, not hurt your fellow brother or sister. But I don't think I ever thought about, like, it's hard. Like, you think that you'd grow up reading the Bible thinking about judging people.
Right.
Lest you be judged. But I mean, I was more judgmental then than I am now about, like, even the person sitting next to you in church, you'd make a judgment on, like, they were annoying, or they were singing too loud, or they were, like...
Are they good Christians? Or
yeah,
are they walking with God? Are they close to God?
All stuff, and it's like, that's just not... That's not my place, first of all. And second of all, those thoughts are affecting me negatively. And I never put that all together in my Christian walk,
Yeah, those thoughts are affecting you at the very least. If your thoughts aren't affecting the field or whatever that is, the collective awareness of the world, if your thoughts aren't affecting those people, then they're affecting you at the very least.
At the very least, right.
That's not a good thing.
No.
Yeah.
That just wasn't part of my Christianity growing up. It's funny that you could have all these things figured out, but you didn't add certain aspects that I think are fundamental core beliefs and values,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Maggie's going crazy on the dog outside. But yeah, so I think that we're going to wrap up today's show. I hope you guys are enjoying.
You hear that weird bark?
That was Maggie. How funny.
She's a punk.
I hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. Today's Friday, our favorite show. Next week, stay tuned. We have Dr. Gary Gordon coming on Monday and a special in-studio guest on Wednesday. She's going to be setting us straight with the Ayurvedic diet. Alicia, what is it? Not Silverstone, but Alicia Diaz.
You got Cameron Diaz and Alicia Silverstone put together.
And then next Friday, our Free For All Friday show. But we're going to be going down to 2 shows a week on Monday and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you guys would like to join us there. Also, I want to let you guys know, too, don't forget to check out The Truth About Cancer. If you're listening live, you got until 9 p.m. tonight to get a 50% discount that Ty's giving to Extreme Health Radio listeners. So you can check that out. I'll share a link to that in the chat room right after we go off the air, but wanted to let you guys know about that. And if you have any questions about the Bellicon or the Biomat, please let us know. We'd love to help you out with that. And if you guys could do us a favor, we'd greatly appreciate this. Share our show on Facebook as much as you can, and head on over to iTunes. Sign into your iTunes account and go to the store, type Extreme Health Radio, all one word, and then you can leave us a rating and a review and subscribe to us on there, and tell your friends to do that too. That would be a really great way to support us, and it would help get the message out to people that they can take care of themselves, they can take care of their own health and heal. So that's what our biggest goal is, to empower people in that way. So go over to iTunes and do that. And if you guys would like to support the show, we didn't mention this at the beginning, but you can always go through our link on Amazon too, extremehealthradio.com/Amazon. And for all your Christmas holiday shopping, back to school, fall shopping, anything you remember to do, go through our link first every time you make a purchase. And then you can bookmark that link and use that every time. And that would help support us. So that'd be awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Really, really appreciate that. We got a lot of stuff going on this week that we're going to talk about in our next show. Lots of different protocols and things that we're going to talk about. And so it's going to be fun next Friday.
But today, we are off.
That's right.
To the I Can Do It conference.
That's right.
Pasadena for Hay House.
Hay House, that's right.
We get to hear Wayne Dyer tonight.
Yep.
It's going to be great.
Oh, and we're going to listen to Wayne Dyer?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know he was speaking.
He's the keynote speaker tonight.
Ah, lucky luck.
Yeah, I know. I've never been in the same room as Wayne Dyer. So
lucky luck.
Really cool.
As I call him, Dub Dye.
Dub Dye.
Dub Dye. Wayne W. Dyer.
Oh, gosh. I think you should go up and tell him that. I've always wanted to meet you, Dub Dye.
Dub Dye. I think he'd appreciate that. I love him. He's awesome. All right. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining us on the live show. We really appreciate it so, so much. And if there's ever anything we can do for you, please let us know. Pass this show on to your friends and enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your time off work and read a book. Take care of yourself. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey, everybody. This is Josie, Justin's mum. Don't tell him, but I know he would absolutely be really happy if you would sign up to his free weekly newsletter. And don't forget to share this with all your friends. This is the buzzing bumblebee signing off.
That's so good.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers